Hi, welcome to Talking the Secret Doctrine. My name is Dr. Don Franklin Shepard, and tonight we will be looking at the three fundamental propositions, A, B, and C, in the Secret Doctrine, in the first volume, on pages 14 to 17. We're using the verbatim edition published by Theosophical University Press, established in Pasadena, California. We want to start with the first proposition, Proposition A. H.P. Blavatsky writes that there is an omnipresent, eternal, boundless, and immutable principle on which all speculation is impossible, since it transcends the power of human conception and could only be dwarfed by any human expression or similitude. It is beyond the range and reach of thought. In the words of Mendukia, unthinkable and unspeakable. What is so often missed in this first paragraph is it does not say that this principle cannot be directly experienced. It does say that it is beyond the power of human conception. It does say that it is dwarfed by any human expression. It does say that it is beyond the range and reach of thought. It does say that it is unthinkable and unspeakable. And when one plunges into the Immaculate White Disk, it is unthinkable and unspeakable. But it is not beyond direct experience. The second paragraph pretty much reflects the content that is in the first paragraph. Here, she finally sets out that this unspeakable is in fact beingness, rather than being in Sanskrit, and it is beyond all thought or speculation. So what is this beingness in the first proposition of the Secret Doctrine? H.P. Blavatsky writes, this beingness is symbolized in the Secret Doctrine under two aspects. On the one hand, abstract space, representing bare subjectivity, the one thing which no human mind can either exclude from any conception or conceive of by itself. This absolute abstract space is Mula Prakriti. It is the underbelly of Parabrahman. It is called bare subjectivity, but what does this mean? The word bare is used here, which means uncovered, which means that the darkness has not yet been blotted out by the light of the central point shining through the 7 layers of the mundane egg. Subjectivity means that there is some sort of individuality in this space. So bare subjectivity is the uncovered darkness, not blotted out by light, of the dull black ground, the second logos, or Mula Prakriti. She continues, on the other, absolute abstract motion, representing unconditioned consciousness. This absolute abstract motion is Parabrahman. This is the divine thought that was mentioned earlier on the first page. So we have a combination of Parabrahman as this absolute abstract motion, and we have Mula Prakriti as the absolute abstract space. The first and the second logos is the beingness in the Secret Doctrine. She continues to describe this situation. Even our Western thinkers have shown that consciousness is inconceivable to us apart from change, and motion best symbolizes change, its essential characteristics. So when we're talking about Parabrahman, when we're talking about absolute abstract motion, we're talking about change. And so we have the first dialectic, the first apparent contradiction. We have Parabrahman as absolute, and we have Parabrahman as changeable. They're both happening at the same time. The universe is stranger than we can think, but not stranger than we can directly experience. She continues, this latter aspect of the one reality, meaning change, is also symbolized by the term the great breath, a symbol sufficiently graphic to need no further elucidation. So when we're talking about change, we're talking about the immaculate white disk, we're talking about the dull black ground that surrounds it, and we're talking about the central point that emerges along the plane of the immaculate white disk to establish the sevenfold mundane egg. This is the change involved in abstract absolute motion. She continues. This then, the first fundamental axiom of the secret doctrine, is this metaphysical one absolute, beingness, symbolized by finite intelligence as the theological Trinity. The immaculate white disk, the dull black ground, and the central point is this Trinity. Let's move to the second proposition. The second proposition, proposition B, is on page 16. And let's see what H.P. Blavatsky writes. The eternity of the universe en toto as a boundless plane. So here we have the immaculate white disk. Periodically, it is the playground of numberless universes, incessantly manifesting and disappearing, called the manifesting stars and the sparks of eternity. The eternity of the pilgrim is like a wink of the eye of self-existence. So here we have the immaculate white disk, and we have the central point as a spark of eternity, as the eternity of a pilgrim. But the central point is only the wink in the eye of self-existence. Self-existence being the immaculate white disk, being beingness. She continues, the appearance and disappearance of worlds is like a regular tidal ebb of flux and reflux. So we have the central point emerging from the immaculate white disk, and we have the central point returning to the immaculate white disk. This is what's going on in the second fundamental proposition, proposition B. It's all dealing with the first, second, and third logos. But when we get to proposition C, we have to think of everything differently. We know that the third logos tinctures the highest layer of the mundane egg, the seventh layer of the mundane egg, which we have called param atman, beyond Atman, because in this case it's pertaining to the cosmos. So the seventh layer of the mundane egg is called param atman. It is beneath this seventh layer that we have Adi Buddhi, or what's called in proposition C, the universal oversoul. So let's take a look at that. H.P. Blavatsky writes, the fundamental identity of all souls with the universal oversoul, the latter being itself an aspect of the unknown root. So what does this mean? Well, we have to understand the terms. The unknown root is either a reference to Paramatman, the seventh layer of the mundane egg, or it's a reference to the great breath. And from this Paramatman, from the seventh layer of the mundane egg, we have souls in a universal oversoul. Well, the universal oversoul corresponds to the sixth layer of the mundane egg, and the soul, spelled with a capital, refers to the fifth layer of the mundane egg. So what she's fundamentally saying here is that all souls, the fifth layer of the mundane egg, have a fundamental identity with the universal oversoul as the sixth layer of the mundane egg, in which the latter is an aspect of the unknown root, or the seventh layer of the mundane egg, tinctured by the central point, and which is behind the entire mundane egg, and through which the great breath flows. She continues, there is the obligatory pilgrimage for every soul, a spark of the former, through the cycle of incarnation or necessity in accordance with cycle and karmic law during the whole term. So these souls are coming out from the universal oversoul, and they're having to drop through the layers of the mundane egg until they reach the lowest elemental layer. From there, they have to evolve upwards as they're evolving upwards, they're trying to reach their original state of soul, universal oversoul, and Paramatman, or the fifth, sixth, and seventh layers of the mundane egg. She continues, in other words, no purely spiritual buddhi, divine soul, can have an independent conscious existence before the spark which issued from the pure essence of the universal sixth principle, or the oversoul. This is where the pure essence is Paramatman, or the seventh layer of the mundane egg, one stage higher than the universal sixth principle, has passed through every elemental form in the phenomenal world of the Manvantara. Oftentimes, we find terms that we don't quite know where to place them in the schemata of the secret doctrine. Understanding that H.P. Blavatsky is referring to souls as the fifth layer, universal oversouls as the sixth, and Paramatman as the seventh. We now understand what she means when she uses the term Dhyani Buddha, the holiest archangel. The elemental forms are evolving into the Dhyani Buddha, the holiest archangel. The Dhyani Buddha in this case is at the fourth layer of the mundane egg. So now we can understand the mundane egg much better. The fourth layer, the Dhyani Buddha, resides within the solar suns. Then, above that, we have the souls. The souls reside within the Rajasuns. Then we have the universal oversoul. The universal oversoul resides within the Emperor's sons. And then we have the Paramatman, the unknown root, the seventh layer of the mundane egg. This would correspond to the great central sun. So we have a placement now for the fourth layer, the fifth layer, the sixth layer, and the seventh layer of the mundane egg. And we can now understand how the cosmos is set up. It's set up through a series of suns. In the fourth layer, we have the solar suns, and a Dhyani Buddha resides within the solar sun. Then we have a higher layer of a sun, and a higher layer, until we get to the great central sun, which is in fact a collection of suns over the entire mundane egg. She goes on, this is why the Hindus say that the universe is Brahm and Brahma, for Brahma is in every atom of the universe. The six principles in nature being all the outcome, the variously differentiated aspects of the seventh and one, the only reality in the universe, whether cosmical or microcosmical, the great central sun. I hope this gives us all a lot to think about in terms of the fundamental three propositions in H.P. Blavatsky's Secret Doctrine. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next time.